my presentation is twofold. One, I want to tell you about a set of parent guides and parent brochures that Manitoba Education has created. I want to talk a little bit about high school and graduation. And then I'm hoping that you will ask questions with anything related to education, right from early childhood to kindergarten to grade 1 to 12. And because I work for Manitoba Education, I'm the EAL and newcomer education consultant. And I'm very involved with families that arrive into this country with either fully aware of English or no English at all. And what the processes are that they have to go through in our school system. I'm also very aware of what we have in terms of what we call public schools and private schools. Private schools are referred to in Manitoba as independent schools because they're not dependent on the government. So anyways, if you have questions about that, I can try to answer those questions. Okay, so I want to start first of all by talking a little bit about the newcomer parent guide. And I think I can share my screen here. All right, so newcomer parent guides are brand new, like they were rolled out in 2020 because a lot of parents and a lot of schools are saying that we don't have enough information about the education system in Manitoba. We have to be careful because every school division is responsible for their own school, for how they operate their schools. So that's why these are called guides. So these parent guides are intended to offer general information to newcomer families as they navigate the Manitoba education system. The 5 guides provide information on what families can expect through kindergarten to grade 12 in Manitoba and information on how to register for school. And these guides also provide helpful tools such as checklists and questions that parents can use to communicate with teachers and administrators for various purposes. So we have 5 guides altogether. The first one is an overview. What can I expect from Manitoba schools? The second one is, how do I register my child in a school? At school, as a parent, what can I expect for my child at school? Kindergarten, what can my child expect in kindergarten? And then grades 1 to 12, what can my child expect in the classroom? So those are the 5 guides. They're available online at the URL that I have at the bottom there. I can share this PowerPoint with you, Anastasia, and you can send it to the participants when I'll try to get it out to you today.
Yes, thank you.
Okay, so first of all, what can I expect from Manitoba schools? Now, many parents are and families, when they arrive here, they're used to school system in the country they come from. So in your case, Ukraine. And so our system may be different and it's kind of hard to navigate. And so this document talks about what can I expect in Manitoba schools. So first of all, it talks about public schools, independent schools, and homeschooling. And homeschooling is when parents choose to educate children on their own at home using the Manitoba curriculum. Okay, and then it also talks about things like who might help my child at school. And so we have things like guidance counselors, the principal and vice principal, classroom teachers, educational assistants, and resource teachers. And those form a team that works with the school to make sure that the children are getting an education. Then there is a communication pathway that is presented in this brochure. So for example, if you have a question or a concern or some ideas that you want to share with the school, this pathway says the first thing you do is you go talk to your classroom teacher. If you do not get the response that you're looking for, then you go to the principal. If you do not get the response that you're looking for with the principal, then you go to the superintendent of that school division. And if you do not get the response that you're looking for the superintendent, then you go directly to the Minister of Education with matter of education. Now, if you go directly to the Minister of Education, the first question that the minister will ask is, who have you talked to already? Have you talked to the superintendent? Have you talked to the principal? Have you talked to the classroom teacher? And if you have not done that, then he will send you back to that communication pathway. So this brochure talks about that. It talks also about how we care about all the children that come to our school. First of all, we strive for safe and caring learning environments. We make sure that the students, family, and community have voices in the school, and so we listen to them when they approach us. We believe in lifelong learning. So just because you finish school does not mean that you're finished learning, and so we try to strive those skills. We also believe in diversity, equity, and inclusion. And then we also, right now, the indigenous population has been really, has a very historic tradition. And so we make sure that the indigenous perspectives and reconciliation is also presented in our school systems. What kind of questions can you ask for at a school? Well, you can ask them for whether is it an English or a French language, or is it an immersion? And I'm not sure if Natalia mentioned, but there is a Ukrainian immersion school in the Winnipeg School Division. You can ask about the health and well-being services that we offer. You can ask about things like planning and programs for students with special learning needs and extracurricular programs in summer school. And what will my child learn? So in this brochure, it lays out that, actually, you know what? Let me see if I can get it up here, and then maybe you can see it. Can you see the screen of the brochure?
Yes, we can.
All right. Okay. So this is our communication pathway. And this talks about public schools versus independent schools versus homeschooling, and then who might help my child at school. Okay, and then this, I just talked about safe and caring learning environment. So that's now. So, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to look at this. What will my child learn? So whether they're starting in kindergarten or in grade 12, right? All of these topics are themes that they will experience in every grade. You know, so there is talk about things like physical education and health, social studies, arts and education, science, English or French language arts, mathematics. How do we think and logically? And then what are some of the things that are career oriented? So in kindergarten to grade 6, they won't talk about things like career oriented, but they may talk about things like collaboration and keeping a track of what you did good and how can you improve. And because those are all skills required for careers. And so that's what this first brochure is about. The second brochure talks about registering. How do I register my child? And I believe Natalia covered this quite well. But basically, this also talks about school programming. Let me just see if I can. So public schools have to carry Manitoba curriculum. They have to have certified teachers. There are no tuition fees, and they graduate with a Manitoba high school diploma. Funded in private independent schools, Manitoba curriculum, certified teachers, they charge tuition, and Manitoba high school diploma. Then we also have private schools that are not funded. So these are schools that are not following the Manitoba curriculum. And if you don't follow the Manitoba curriculum, then you cannot get a high school diploma. So examples of funded independent schools would be, for example, if there is an organization that offers Ukrainian classes to learn Ukrainian on Saturdays. So they have their own curriculum to teach Ukrainian, right? And it is not related to the Manitoba curriculum. Those would be non-funded independent schools. And then homeschooling, Okay, homeschooling can qualify for Manitoba graduation if they use the Manitoba curriculum. And there are 4 different programs that we offer in Manitoba. We have the English program, the immersion program, the Francais program, and the technology education program. And so this brochure describes each one of them. So, and the other thing that what this does, it talks about different levels of schooling. Early years, we refer to early years as students from kindergarten to grade 4. Middle years are grades 5 to 8. Senior years are grade 9 to 12. And one of the things that we do encourage is students attend their local school. And I know that Natalia talked about schools of choice, but generally most students attend their local school. The definition of local school is the school in your program of study that is closest to your home, to your residence. And then you can also learn about schools of choice. Okay, and I think that this information is visit your school division or, okay, so you need to take necessary documents, and I think Natalia also talked about that.
Yeah, Natalia talked about documents.
So this is also indicated in the brochure. And then there's a little checklist so for the documents. So do you have proof of address, such as a purchase or a rental agreement? So the school division or the school will require a proof of address. Your immigration status documents, your child's birth certificate and your guardianship papers, school reports from previous schools if they're available, immunization records, and the Manitoba health card. Okay, I'm just going to talk a little bit about just sort of on the side for your immigration documents. You could have immigration documents and the paperwork, but please note that those are very important documents. So for example, I immigrated to Canada in 1964 as a junior high school child. When I went to collect my pension, my passport was not good enough. They wanted my original immigration document. And so just so you're aware of how important that document is, and just because you become a Canadian citizen and or have a Canadian passport does not mean that you will not need the immigration documents later on. Okay, who can attend school? At age 4, preschool and nursery schools. Now, some school divisions offer this free of charge. Others, there are charges. Age 5 is kindergarten. Please note that in Manitoba, kindergarten is optional. You do not have to attend school at age 5 into kindergarten. You can choose to do so. But you have to attend school from age 7 up to the point of 21 or when you graduate. Okay, and so this is what is mandated by the law. So you can actually keep your 5-year-old and 6-year-old home, and when they're 7, they have to start grade 1. So that's something that you need to know, okay? And then the other part of this is, how can we plan for your child's needs? How can you help? So it talks a little bit about how parents are going to be involved in the children's education. Then the next section here talks about questions to ask the school. What is the school's contact information and daily schedule? What services does the school offer for students and families? Can I get extra support? What are school rules and expectations? What do I do if my child is sick or is having problems? And can I get this information in writing so you can keep a record? The other thing that when you register your child, the school may give you many, many forms that you need to be aware of. The number one is the registration form. But there's lots of forms that ask for your permission and consent. So for example, things like using technology in the school, field trips, extracurricular activities, release of information, and immunization. So these are forms that we will need for you to sign. If you require transportation, then you will need to fill out a transportation form. In high school, with the registration form, they have to select courses. Okay, and so then there's a course selection form. And then there is health information form. So if your child has some health issues, for example, allergies or anything that may affect their everyday normal living, then you will need to complete a health information form so that the school is aware of the health needs of your child. So for example, let's say that your child needs to have certain medication every single day at 2 o'clock in the afternoon. You will need to fill out the health information form, provide the prescription to the school, and the school will administer that prescription to your child at 2 o'clock. And then equipment lending or usage forms. So these are forms that they will give you to fill out or help you fill out. Okay, so that's the second brochure, and it talks about registering in a Manitoba school. The third one, it talks about at school, as a parent, what can I expect from my child at school? Okay, and so for example, school calendars and schedules. They will probably give you calendars and schedules right away as soon as you get registered. Then, when are our breaks? Usually winter breaks, summer breaks, spring breaks, where the school is off. And then there are holidays like Thanksgiving, Remembrance Day, Louis Riel Day, Good Friday, and Victoria Day. So those are holidays where the school is closed. And then we always look at safety first. So schools are safe places. Now, in emergencies and extreme weather, most schools have established a way to let the parents know that schools are closed or to be more careful so that we make sure that the schools are safe. Okay? All schools have safety plans for fires and other threats. And students will actually be practicing fire drills at least 10 times a year. And so then that will be a drill that they get so that they get used to what to do if there is an emergency. Okay, there's a little bit of talk about school transportation. What does my child need for school? Okay, so now most schools usually have a list developed that is school specific, but generally they'll need a backpack so they can carry things, pencil, crayons, paint, crayons, calculator, some notebooks, scissors, glue, ruler, a lunchbox and water bottle if they're staying for lunch in school, pens, pencils, and so on, and then lock, gym clothes, and indoor shoes. Now, most gym classes, right, starting from grade 1 on, they do require gym clothes for students to wear when they are in phys ed. And then what about attendance? Well, the child is expected to be in school every single day that the school is in session. If your child is going to be away or late, then the school will provide you with the contact information to let them know that the child will not be there. Otherwise, they will worry, and the school will actually call you to say that your child has not arrived because they want to make sure that something didn't happen to the child on the way to school. And the school will actually ask you to come and make a plan, especially in high school, if the child is missing many classes. And so if the attendance is becoming a problem, then school will contact you to come and make a plan with them. You can also ask your school about other rules such as behaviors, what is the dress code, and what is the rules about eating lunch at school. Can my child bring a cell phone to school? Okay, so that's very school specific. Some schools ban it. Some schools allow for the students to use it as a technology, as a lesson aid. So you will have to ask the school about the rules that they have about using computers, tablets, or cell phones within the building. Progress and report cards. So your child will receive periodic progress reports and report cards telling you how the child is doing in specific subject areas, as well as behaviors. And so this is something you will receive. If you have any questions, please make sure that you contact your child's teacher or principal to get them clarified. The third document we have, it's for the kindergarten students. Now, kindergarten is a little bit different in Manitoba than grades 1 and 2, because we believe, we have a philosophy that education needs to be play-based and it has to be fun for kindergarten students. And so kindergarten is a full fun time of early learning, okay? They're going to be trying new things. They're going to be playing with other kids. So they're going to learn how to get along with kids. Kindergarten offers play-based learning. So our curriculum for kindergarten is based on play-based learning and play-based activities. What will they learn? Kindergarten, they're going to learn social studies, mathematics, science, arts education, English or French language arts, physical education, and health. Okay. So questions you may have: should I send my child to kindergarten? That is a choice that you have. You have to make that decision. Most children go to kindergarten because it's very beneficial for their emotional and academic life. At what age can I send my child to kindergarten? Your child can start at either age 4 or 5, okay? But your child must be 5 by December 31st of the year. So for example, if your child is 4 and they were born in January, then they will not be 5 until January. They cannot attend kindergarten. Okay, they can only attend kindergarten if they will be 5 before the end of December 31st. What is the schedule for kindergarten? So now here is something that schools are trying. Right now, kindergarten is half days, either morning or afternoon. Due to space limitations, some schools have switched half days, so Monday, Wednesday, Tuesday, Thursday, all day. But your school will tell you what their system is. So an experiment that some divisions are trying is that what we call full day kindergarten. So they attend kindergarten Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, full days. Are supports available for learning the language of instruction? Yes, kindergarten programs help all students develop language. So you can also help your child learn at home by reading your child in your home language, like Ukrainian, and in school they will learn English. This has information, once again, on how to register your child. What do kids love about kindergarten? Okay, they love friends, teachers, and all the things they do, and they love to tell stories and play. Okay, how will they be assessed? So assessment is based on self-concept, academic learning, emotional learning, social learning, communication, creativity, and physical learning. And then this talks about how do you get involved with kindergarten.
Excuse
In
me,
grades
Jayesh.
1 and 2. So now this.
Jayesh, we're kind of already, time is running late a little bit.
Okay, I'll speed up.
So there's one question about like where people should take their child when at the age of 3 years old. Like you talked about nursery schools or
Right.
something like that.
Okay, so at the age of 3, so on the Maritime Education website, there is something called early childhood education, and that will have information on early childhood education, nursery schools and daycares, and your school division office will be able to tell you what is within your area. Now, what some parents have done is asked about daycare centers within where they work, so that they can go take their child to daycare center within walking distance of where they work, and that would be allowed as well.
Mm-hmm. Also, there's a question if there's any after school activities. So because some parents are working till like 6 till the night or something.
Yes.
Is there any school curriculars after or
okay,
before?
So in actually kindergarten to grade 12, there are some organizations that offer what we call a homework club. But if it is a matter of picking up children after school until you get home from work, most nursery schools and daycare centers have accommodations that they can make where the child can join the nursery school or daycare after school until the parents can pick them up. So
Okay.
separate from the school system.
Mm-hmm. Thank you. So Natalia just already talked briefly about schools from grade 1 to school grade 8 approximately.
Okay.
So I can share a little bit more information about like from grade 9 to 12, since
Okay.
yeah, you can share it too if you want to.
All right. So grade 9 to 12 is different from grades 1 to 8. Grades 1 to 8 is where child is placed in the grade depending on their age. So if they are 12 years old, then they would go to the grade for 12-year-olds. Whether they're behind or ahead, it doesn't matter. But in 9 to 12, students take courses and subjects. And so, for example, in grade 9, they have to have 5 compulsory courses and up to 3 optional courses. In grade 10, they need 5 compulsory courses and optional. There are 3 optional courses. And in grade 11, it's 4 compulsory and 4 optional. And in grade 12, there are 3 compulsory and then the rest are optional. And so this chart here, graduation requirements, explains the courses that students will need to register for in order to accumulate enough credits to graduate. So that's what this, so in the English program, students need 30 credits, 30 credits to graduate out of high school. 17 that are compulsory and 13 that are optional.